I drive a rather excellent BMW 735i. It's dark black, fully loaded, executive Autobahn Express. My wife drives a rather diminutive Fiat Panda, which is best not described.
I often look at his car and think, my God, he doesn't have to grow up and I do. He can just take off on his own and I have to jump in the family car with all the children.
She's one of these ladies, she's very strong-willed, you know, she thinks things should be done her way. But when she's driving this car, they've got to be done my way. That's top and tail of it.
I prefer it all cool, wind in the hair stuff. Denise wants it all hot and sticky, like a tropical jungle. So we're constantly moving that control knob, although we never say anything to each other about it, but we're constantly fidgeting with that control knob.
Let's face it, when I go to work in the morning, especially if it's been snowing or raining, you ring me at 8:15 to see how I am. But it's not me, is it? It's making sure the car's got there in one piece.
Yeah, well, I just ring and say you're getting on, like, but yeah, you're right, I am trying to find out if the car's been bent up or not.
Well, I won't bend it up, I know what I'm doing.
But that M62 can be very tricky, you know, ice and snow, and women drivers are not the best in ice and snow. So we could have a few problems, or I could have a few problems.
So you're telling me that if you were going down that motorway, you wouldn't have an accident?
I'm not saying I wouldn't have an accident, because see, with me, I read the road a lot quicker than you have.
No, I don't disagree.
And I can see what's going to happen.
No way, no chance.
You just drive on, you just like any woman drive, you just look ahead.
If I was
and think, oh, all the birds are flying around in my head.
The birds can fly around your head in a minute. Listen, mate, when I drive, I look at what I'm doing on the road, I look where I'm going. If it was that bad, you wouldn't let me have the car, full stop.
It's a case of letting you have the car because we haven't got another car for you to take to work.
Yeah, well, if you hadn't got this one in the first place, we could have probably had two cheaper ones.
No, you wouldn't.
Of course you would. I could have got two Montego second-hand for the price that this was.
The wife, she thinks I mess over it too much, you know. I wash it every, Sunday. It's religion with me, I wash my car every Sunday. And all she thinks is I'm being stupid. They've stopped making these now. The Renault Clio's come out of this place. So, I want to keep this in top nick. You never know, it could be worth a lot of money. If something did happen to the car, I think it'd be like losing the dog. I know she tries to be careful, but she does not look far enough ahead in front of her. And many a time I've been with her, and things have happened on the road, you know. And I've got her out of it.
Spend the money better on either a family car or my extension. Look how long I've had to wait for my extension because you wanted this turbo car.
Well, you've got your extension going on now, so what are you worried about? It's only took 5 years.
Yeah, well, when we first bought the house, you said, oh, we'll get it extended, there'll be no problems. We weren't in it 2 months and you changed the car, so bang went my extension out the window.
Yeah, but I didn't know I was going to see a car like this, did I?
Game over.
There wasn't many of them about.
Well, what are you waiting? Why couldn't I have an extension? Did you wait for your car?
Ah, but would the Volkswagen have lasted that long?
Of course it would. When we go shopping on a Friday, every Friday we go to Quick Save. Now if it's raining or if there's a big puddle, no matter what it is, he will park right out of the way and then we have to walk right across to the doorway and I get wet through. So by the time I get in the shop I'm soaking.
I never ever go and park close up to the doors, never. I always park really far away, you know, well out of the way from the shop and trolleys and people and the cars, because they don't give a monkey, people. I've seen it so many times in car parks where they just get out the car, slam the door and straight into someone's other door. You know, to me that's terrible. Get through these now. And watch they don't carve you up here because it comes into one lane up here. So don't let them push you about. Like this one's going to do on the right hand as it's rolling now, look. See?
Well, then he's going to have to get in front of me.
Yeah, he's squeezed in front of you. You've always got to give way to him, haven't you?
Well, there's no point in arguing with him, is there? Now, if I'd have gone right up nose to nose, you'd have had a fit if you'd hit the car.
Yeah,
what would you have done then?
Make sure you get in the right hand lane up here, going around this roundabout.
Right, don't panic.
She's not that good at changing up the gearbox. She's generally a bit dilatory, you know, which doesn't do the gearbox a lot of good. And I do keep harping on her about it, but it doesn't sink in. She sometimes tries to take away in second gear, which can generally mess the clutch up in the long term. Basically, I like sitting here because I know exactly what I can tell her to do. And 9 out of 10, she does what I tell her. There's a parked car on the left-hand side of the road, she'll go round it. And, you know, I'm like a second pair of eyes to her, because she does need them.
If I've got my way, I would get rid of it tomorrow and just have a basic car, but there is no way, while we're still married, he will not get rid of this car, ever. This comes before me and the kids, it comes before anything. It's his life. He thinks that I can't do without it, but I can. I mean, I'd get the bus tomorrow, won't worry me, not in the least.
That's the trouble with you, Limba. You never want to try anything new. I mean, even when we took your mum out for that meal, went to that Chinese restaurant, everyone had Chinese. What did you have? Chicken and chips. I mean, you like that with everything? You just won't try anything new?
Well, I tried this, then I went to test drive this car.
Yeah, only because I had to, you know, drag you along. And I mean, once you test drove it, I mean, you fell in love with it, didn't you? Straight away thought, wonderful, after saying, oh, I'd never drive a Japanese car.
Each car we've had always seems to be, well, it's always been chosen by Jean without my approval, including the one we're driving now. We started off with a Mini, which we couldn't afford to buy, but she bought it anyway. Then she decided she wanted to buy a Metro because the Mini was getting a bit too small for us. So she bought one off a friend. Again, she got a bargain, but still without my approval. Then when I wanted an escort, when the metro was getting too small, she went out and she bought an Astra. Again, without my approval. And then she turned up at work one afternoon saying, here's the car, we're buying it.
Don't forget you're getting back onto the motorway.
Do you want the A38M or do you want...
Can you go back onto the motorway?
You can get back onto the motorway down there as well. As I said, if you want the A38M or whatever.
I mean, your sense of direction is really terrible. You even can't even remember your directions to work.
What about you? You're the one that's directing me at the moment, so if you don't know where you're going yourself.
What about the other Saturday then, when I took you to work on the Monday? By the Saturday you'd forgotten.
No, I haven't forgotten. I just made a mistake. Don't tell me you ever make mistakes when you're driving.
You were driving?
Yes, but don't tell me you don't make mistakes when you're driving. Why is it sometimes you say when I'm driving you say take this way, go left, right, right, and then when we're going exactly the same route and you're driving, why don't you take the same directions? Why do you drive the same way that I drive? Well, one of the biggest arguments or the disagreements we have in this car is the temperature of the car. I like the car to be nice and cool. Jean likes it to be really, really hot.
I do admit I have it like a furnace and he likes it icy cold. And we literally argue about having it 1/100 of a millimetre on whichever side of the gauge we want it. Like I want it just, I mean we say we compromise, don't we? And I have it just touching the red. I
compromise and you don't. Why can't you let the car get warm and then turn the heat?
Because that's how I like it. I like to be comfortable when I'm driving and I'm comfortable when I'm warm.
Yeah, but I'm sure there must be a point when it gets too hot.
It doesn't actually.
And how come up until recently? You know, you used to always assume that you had to drive us around when we went out together. I mean, but when we went out, all our friends, well, all the men drove, even though the women passed their tests as well, but the men always drove, but you were the only one that was always driving.
That's because I drive most of the time anyway, and I just automatically would get into the driving seat.
Yeah, well, you know, normally when you go out as a family or as a couple, the man is the leader, so he should drive.
I mean, you're such a chauvinistic person, Limba. I mean, I let you drive now anyway, and it's much easier because when I used to drive, you'd touch the windscreen wipers, you'd touch the radio, you know, even my wing mirrors were adjusted in the rear view mirror. And you're always in the mood. I always noticed, anytime you got into the car and I drove, you're always in the mood. But then I realised it was your male ego, so I let you drive now.
Because you're shorter, you're always complaining that I'm getting too close to cars in front when I'm not, because I can see over the bonnet, and whereas because you're so short, you're looking at the out of the bottom of the windscreen.
I'm not so short. I mean, I'm 4'9", and just because you're 6'3" and 3/4 doesn't mean that I can't see where I'm going, and especially with the height adjusters, it doesn't make any difference at all.
It does. It makes it's a different. I'm looking even with the seat up. I'm still looking at from the top of the windscreen, and you're looking out at the bottom.
Yeah, but you've got your seat down, and I've got mine up.
Yeah, but my body's a lot longer than yours anyway, regardless. So when you're saying I'm close to cars, I can still see the gap, whereas you can't, because you're lower down in the car. Well, now we've got the car that you wanted. Okay, we've got a nice car. Why didn't you ever keep it clean on the inside or the outside? Why is it always a tip?
I mean, why should I clean the car when I've got you to clean it?
It's not my job to clean. I mean, I wouldn't mind I don't mind cleaning the car as such, but it's just all the, I mean, look at all this rubbish that we've got. I mean, if I just look in the back now, look, that's just, look, jumbo jaws, crisp packets and mini cheddars. I mean, you know, what they're doing on the floor in the car, what's the problem with picking those up and putting them in the bin? Even if you did it once a week, but you just leave it for weeks and weeks and weeks until I get fed up and just do it myself. So, you know, what's the excuse?
I mean, I've got other things to worry about, like getting the shopping and getting the kids out of the car. I haven't got time to be cleaning a car as well.
Yeah, but what about when I'm on holiday or you know, Saturday or Sunday? Why can't you do it then?
So why can't you do it?
Who always ends up doing it?
That's what I've got you for, isn't it?
Well, that's what you think.
I think I'm fiery and hot most of the time, and that's how I like the car to be. And it's quite cool and laid back. And I mean, even in bed it's the same. I mean, I put my icy cold feet on his lovely warm body and he hates it.
Sento un po', domani i genitori arrivano dall'Italia. Devo andare giù dall'aeroporto io a prendere su, ci vai te?
No, ci vado io. We've got to pick up my mum and dad, so I need to take your car.
Questa qui?
See?
Perché?
Well, because they won't fit in the Panda, will they? So I have to take the BMW, you'll have to take the Panda to work.
That means I've got to use the Panda to go to work in?
Yeah, afraid so.
Wonderful. Marvellous.
Oh, don't start that again. I've had enough of it.
Well, I think it's a perfectly
Well, I think we can do without
compromise. It's a seriously quick sports car, yeah? We're talking 286 brake horsepower, we're talking almost Ferrari performance, but we've got a comfortable four-seater car.
But I want a faster car.
We've got
That's
a comfortable
all you want.
four-seater car, right, with boot, which is fine, it's big enough to go on holiday with, it's big enough for my golf club, it's big enough for everything. You know, what other car can do 150 miles an hour, accelerate to 60 in 6 seconds, carry 4 people in comfort and still give over 20 miles to the gallon for the sort of money that they're available? At the moment, if I buy an early one, an 85 or an 86, I can put this car in and get cash on top. Alternatively, if I go for a high line, one of the late 89 models, it'll only cost me this car plus a couple of grand. When I met Patricia, I had the 323i coupe BMW sports car. It was a beautiful little red sports car. And I was very proud of it. It was my pride and joy.
And I had a cute little Renault.
Little Renault 5. Soon after we got married, I had to settle the bill for the wedding. And basically, although I could have settled the bill, I used the excuse that really it would be better off selling the Renault, seeing as we didn't need the 2 cars, and I was using my car and Patricia wasn't using hers much. And we could use the funds from the sale of the Renault to pay off the wedding.
I wasn't keen on that idea, to sell my Renault, but I thought, being that I go to work by tube, we didn't really need the second car.
Not only that, but Patricia was under the impression that extra funds generated from the Renault could then be used to furnish the flat or to make life more comfortable, whereas I'd already worked it out that the extra funds from the Renault could go a long way towards sorting out the BMW for me. Uprate the suspension, spoilers, alloy wheels, the whole caboodle. We were living in a rented flat at the time, and we had the one baby, and I had the BMW coupe, and Patricia was putting pressure on me to get a mortgage and buy a house and do these sort of things. But I would say, no, we'll keep the money liquid in the bank, because I'll need it for the business, to improve the business, to expand the business. Having said that, it also allowed me access to the money to spend on the car.
But at the time, I didn't know.
No, because I was holding back receipts, fiddling the bills, so that she only knew a fraction of what I was spending. And that way I managed to get away with it. It was obvious that with babies, buggies, and all the paraphernalia that goes with it, a 2-door car was not practical. We needed to have a four-door car as well. And after hunting around, I managed to convince her that the 1969 Mercedes 300 SEL 6.3 was our family car, the one that we wanted. It was coming up to December, so I decided to buy it for her as a Christmas present, her own car.
I really hated that Mercedes. Everything about it.
You were just paranoid, darling.
No, I'm not paranoid.
You were irrational and you were paranoid about it.
Even thinking about it now, all I can see is that big heap of metal sitting there, and
you were actually jealous. That's all it was. It was just pure
jealous.
jealousy. You were. I remember one day you walked past it and it snared your tights. And ever since then, you were convinced the car had it in for you, as if an inanimate object could actually have it in for you. But that's how you felt about it. It was becoming pretty apparent that my obsession with cars was getting the better of me, in as much as I was being put under a lot of pressure from Patricia, obviously, to back up my ideas and shake up and get rid of the cars. Pressure was also coming in from my parents. It was also coming in from my in-laws. In fact, I was basically being pushed into a corner. So what I did, I actually got home and I advertised both cars. I actually went through and picked up every classic car magazine that I had, and literally boxes and boxes full of them, and threw the whole lot in the bin.
I was over the moon.
And made this sort of semi-religious gesture that this was it. I was now not going to be involved with vehicles, and for the rest of my life, which was absolute rubbish, really, because it's just so much of a part of me that although I've managed to tame it and put it into perspective, I'll never be able to lose it.
But I thought you'd finally seen sense.
Having had my own way for so long, Patricia's finally got the better of me. My mother-in-law had this little white Fiat Panda, most horrible little tin box on wheels that has ever gone under the pretense of being a motor vehicle. And my wife was borrowing this occasionally, until one day my mother-in-law just forgot to come and pick it up. And without me having any say in it whatsoever, she's landed us with the Fiat Panda. Bruno Costa has got 2 kids. He's always had 2 kids. And he's always driven 2-door cars. He's never had any problems. They've always survived. He had the 280 CE, he had the 9-speed coupe, he had the Porsche.
The speed more than anything.
Yeah,
you think this is an older man's car, that's your problem.
This is an older man's car. I'm not unhappy with this car. This is a wonderful car. But I'd like to change it. Is that a problem?
I do admit though, I don't know how you can possibly cope with the kids in the car. They drive me to distraction. Well, they are distracting.
It's a case of having to, isn't it?
Now, I can almost understand why you're driving so bad, because it's just ridiculous.
But it's a case of having to, isn't it? So I have no choice in the matter. That's why, as I have the family car, isn't it? Because I have to have the children in the back. They drive me mad too, but it's tough for me, isn't it?
Well, it isn't tough for you that you can't stop buying leggings, is it? Or going shopping continuously. Born to shop. How many leggings have you got now?
Only 59 pairs.
59 pairs. Can you hear? 59 pairs.
I like to shop. It's the only thing I can do on my own without you nagging on behind me.
I don't nag.
It's my revenge, Simon. You choose everything in this life. Cars, houses, furniture, children's names.
Chose you, didn't I?
Children's names even. So I can go out and spend. Choose what I want.
Well, you can't. If you didn't spend so much on clothes, you might have a convertible Escort. But you just can't stop.
I started off with a silver Mini that Simon did up for me in
Customised.
blues, which was fine, and I had the wheels and everything for my birthday, even though I'd asked for a gold bangle, but there you go. Then we had our first baby, and Simon had a family car for 6 months, a Rover, which did the job, but Simon wasn't really very pleased with it. And then with baby number 2 on the way, I had a Fiat Panda, and Simon had a zippy little Peugeot 1900 with leather seats, and great car, and I had the milk float. And then we had a windfall, and I was actually allowed to choose a black Mini 30, which was great. After a big argument over whether I should have a black or a burgundy one, I actually won, and we had a black one.
Unfortunately.
And Simon had a Celica. I had my black Mini for 6 months, and then Simon went out and bought yet again for me a Metro, which he came back home after he test drove it and said, "Right, Lisa, what do you think?" And I said, "Well, does it really matter what I think?" And Simon rang the man up and said, "We'll pick it up tomorrow night." So I now have a pensioner's shopping cart,
MG.
and Simon
Metro.
has a young free and single 2-seater convertible.
Well, what's wrong with that? I'm quite happy about it. Well, really, you don't deserve to have a decent car, because you don't look after it.
No.
You let the kids trample round, there's chocolate buttons stuck to the seats.
Yeah.
You never wash a car,
Can't reach the roof.
because you can't reach the roof. You know, certain people deserve a car because they look after it, like me.
No, Simon, you're just obsessed with it. I mean, you say, "I'm going out to clean my car," and I don't see you for 4 hours.
Well, I have to do a good job.
Yeah, but there's a good job, and there's getting out and cleaning the wheels with a toothbrush, isn't there?
Well, you have to use a toothbrush. You have to do it properly. I just like to do it properly, that's all.
Fanatical. I mean, we had our much wanted daughter, and before Simon even came up to see her on the second day, we stood and watched him at the maternity window washing his car,
No, I was just cleaning the flies off.
which also takes about half an hour.
Because flies are a real problem, yeah. It's a real bum job cleaning a car, really. Baby seats. I don't mind baby seats in the car.
Simon never has a baby seat in the car, and if they are in the car, they go in at the beginning of the journey and they get taken out as we stop at the other end.
Yeah, but they rattle about and
ruin your image.
And they squash the seats and
Ruin your image.
And they just don't really look very nice. They don't even match the colour.
Ruin your image. Simon is the biggest poser in Stafford that I know. I've got beyond the people that give him the strangest looks when we're eating with his gloves on. And
If my dad can get used to me gloves, anybody can.
Simon's dad threatened to burn his gloves.
And cut my ponytail off.
He dances unbelievably. Everybody clears the
thank you.
dance floor as Simon dances. It's quite hysterical to watch Simon dance. This is John Travolta on a bad day. Simon will never be overtaken, whether it's a Morris Minor or a Porsche Turbo. Simon will just not be overtaken. Even going to the hospital, me as a bag of nerves, Simon hit the slip road onto the motorway at 100 and proceeded at that speed all the way there and handbraked into the car park and parked next to a pink Escort convertible.
Just so you can have a look. No, I don't drive fast. Certainly don't.
Does drive fast, very fast.
Well, you never used to mind. When we were young, you used to be excited like everybody else is now. Just because you're an old funny dud like your mother.
No, I've grown up, Simon. We have
you
3
haven't.
children. You have to have responsibilities. You have to grow up sometime.
No,
and I
you
just do
haven't
not
gotta grow
see
up.
the point in going somewhere at 100 miles an hour to get there 2 minutes before anybody else does and risk your life for it. I do not wish to be on a life support machine. You can, I'm not. You can go and kill yourself. I don't wish to be killed.
Yeah, but you're still used to like
Yes, I did used to like it, but I told you. I've
I
grown
think your
up.
hormones must have gone funny.
I've grown
Old
up.
age.
I've grown up. Like you never will.
Who wants to grow up?
Some of us have to.
Look at this bloody traffic, it's ridiculous.
Oh, just be patient. It's so aggressive.
If I had an Exocet missile launcher, I'd strap it to the roof of this car and blast everything out my way. And you constantly filing your nails drives me up the bloody wall as well.
Do it when I'm worried, and I'm only worried when you're driving.
When I look back to when I was a student at Leeds Polytechnic, I looked at all the cars which were available, which people were driving around in. It was only the university Huvet Henrys that had all the sports cars, like midgets and Spitfires. But for the likes of us at Polytechnic, where it was either the Mini or the De Chauveau, and of course that's where I fell in love with them. Beautiful cars, beautiful people. Hippies at the time. Peace, man.
Chris always wanted a Citroen. I don't know, all to do with his eternal youth. I don't like her, never have. Mainly because I'm jealous of her. He spent so much time doing her up, all the time in the garage tinkering. We had no family life.
I used to go out and ask him to stop and let's go out somewhere for the day, and he'd reluctantly stop and then say, well, what do you want to do then? And that just spoilt it. I loathe her, she's the other woman. Check your mirror and your signal, Chris. Signalling out. We now have 3 cars. The Fiesta is mainly my car. The Mini is a family car. We all use it. Mainly Chris and my daughter, but if I have to drive it, I will. And of course there is Fifi, which nobody but Chris would drive. My job is a driving instructor, so I drive perfectly. Chris, on the other hand, his driving leaves a lot to be desired. He's very aggressive. Look at the way he's holding the wheel now. I have to tell him about watching the road. You never use your mirror much either.
She's a bloody nightmare to actually drive with. And worse still, she's got a dual transmission, and she'll actually use the brake to stop the car. And that really annoys me. What I admire about Denise's driving abilities, and what also annoys me at the same time, I might add, is how good her driving abilities are. The way she can hold the steering wheel in her hand in the 10 past 10 position.
10 to 2.
The way she can feed it through her hands and, like me, just sort of whacks the steering wheel any old way. All in all, she's just too bloody goody-goody for my liking.